Welcome everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm in Bowling Green, Kentucky today, and I'm in the famous National Corvette Museum here in Bowling Green. I'm excited for this. I've been here once before. Check this place out. You can see the building right behind me here. And it's a good drive from where I live down to here, about 2-hour drive. And I didn't want to make the trip alone, so I brought along a companion. I brought Dorothy on me with me today, so you'll probably see her in and out of a few different shots out here today. And check that out. Look at this dude riding this little gator. Isn't that so cool? That's the coolest looking little thing I've ever seen. Anyways, back to what the topic of the video. We're going to be talking about a bunch of Corvettes, obviously. I'm a Ford guy myself, but you know, you gotta like the Corvette. You know, they are nice looking cars. So I'm gonna go in here, check out all these really awesome Corvettes. Gonna have a good time. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so when you first walk in here, you got the kind of like the chassis of the 1953 Corvette, and it was mostly constructed from existing chassis components from other Chevy vehicles. So it's just kind of like a Frankenstein together kind of car, but boy, it sure turned into a really nice sports car though. Here you got a 1953 Corvette, and during its first year in production, only 300 Corvettes were built. All of them were polo white with red interior and a black canvas top. Of course, the top's down, you can't see it, obviously, but it's still really nice. And this is number 262 out of 300. Not very many of these are left. Here's a 1955 Corvette. What makes this one really cool is that this is the first year they had the V8. Change the colors up a little bit on it too. But 1955, Marty! Here's a really interesting story about this Corvette. It looks in rough shape, but it's kind of weird seeing it like this, kind of in a weird display like this, but there's a reason for that. Because in 1959, there was a gentleman owned this Corvette, bought it brand new in 1954. 5 years later, he was disappointed because his wife didn't enjoy riding in this car. I don't know why you wouldn't enjoy riding in a Corvette, but she didn't like it. So the guy had this car entombed behind a wall in one of his grocery stores. So it sat there for many, many years. And he left in his will that he did not want the car uncovered until the year 2000. But shortly before his death in 1969, he removed that stipulation. And in 1982, the store was purchased by some different owners, and they wanted to take the car out. And in 1986, the former owner's daughter took possession of the car after it was removed, and then it moved down to her home in Daytona Beach and had the car placed in her living room for another 10 years. I don't know where you could put a car in a living room. Then the Corvette remains now in the same condition as it was when it was removed in 1986. That is awesome. This Corvette's had a lot of history. Why would you hide it in a wall like that? I mean, some people hide newspapers and stuff, but why would you hide a car in a wall? That just baffles me why you would do that. So not only you got two really nice Corvettes, looks like a 1961 Corvette and I think a 1957 Corvette. I'm sorry if I'm wrong on those years, but this gas station setup makes me think of that movie The Jerk with Steve Martin. If you've not seen it, you need to look it up. It's absolutely hilarious. But there's one scene that makes me laugh is with the gas station scene where the guy's shooting a gun and he shoots those oil cans, and Steve Martin's like, huh, these cans are defective. And he's like, look at these cans are leaking, they're defective and everything. And then he realizes the guy's shooting at him, and he's like, he hates these cans. And he started running around all over the place, and he's like, more cans. It's absolutely hilarious. You need to watch that clip, and you'll understand what I'm talking about, this whole gas station setup. Now, here's the years I like of Corvette. When they came out with the Stingray, that was my favorite. That's my favorite models of the Corvette. It's just, I don't know why, but it always appealed to me. It was that they were really cool. And this is kind of like a setup of like in the factory of when they would build it and everything. Something interesting I didn't mention is that this was like the marriage Corvette, where they would take the body and they would attach it down onto your frame, which is pretty awesome. Coming here to some of the older race cars of the Corvettes. We'll go through here and I'll show you all the different years of these. And look, here's a 1957 Corvette SS. It would go on to break the track record in its only race at Sebring in 1957. And the manufacturer's ban on racing would prevent it from going on to race on. But I think if this thing had ran some more, this thing would have probably won quite a bit of races, I bet you. But this is actually on loan, come from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. And here's a 1957 Union Oil racer. Kind of makes me think of something out of the Munsters in a way. Just, I don't know, just the feel of it makes me think of something like that. It's still really awesome looking. I love that. I love how that looks. You got a picture of it. 1960 racing. And this thing won division championships in 1960 and 1961.
Harold Shelby realized that you create a lighter car.
It's a 1963
you essentially get the lighter car
racer
into the same class as the heavier car. And the power to rate is impossible.
And I do like this. Kind of started with the exhaust running down your side.
Here's a guy like Leon Hurd, a club racer, a private Corvette, and
1973. You got much wider tires in the back now. And of course, we go to the 80s. What is it with the 80s and everything they did in the 80s? They try to make it look so futuristic. It drives me up the wall how they did that all the time. But at least a little bit later, we could switch. They go back to normal and make their cars look better. Not so weird, futuristic 80s looking. Now you got your 1989 Corvette. And another 89. And then you jump all the way up to 1997. I like that body style. It looks really good. And here, this probably looks familiar to all you gamers. The Corvette from the Gran Turismo 6. That's awesome to see that in real life. Play on it in the video games, and then you get to see it. You see it on the video games and then see it in real life. It is just awesome. Here's your 1965 Corvette XP. This had the engine in the rear, whereas the other ones beforehand all was up front. Got your massive tires on the back of that thing. It was a serious racer in the time. I think it's cool they positioned the rear view mirrors up on the top of that. I think that's pretty cool looking. Can't be the best to try to look out the back. Trying to back up. Probably not the easiest thing to look out of. They had a nickname for this. As cool as what it is, they did have a nickname for it. Call it the Ugly Duckling. It's still really cool looking though. I'd drive it. Anybody would. Of course, now you get into to the late 60s, you get into your Stingrays, which is my favorite style of Corvette. Of course, you got your engine back up front, unlike the XP. Still really nice. Of course, you got your C5. We're skipping up a few years here. Your C6, which to me it looks like the C5 is a little bit longer than the C6. Looks like you kind of shrunk it up just a little. Still really nice looking. And now you get over here to your C7, which this generation, from 2004 to 2019, this generation would give the world the first Corvette since 1976 to bear the name Stingray. I love it. I think it looks great. Door handles on that thing are really crazy too. You get to stick your hand inside there and open the door that way. Of course, it's probably all remote controlled anyways. And here's your generation now, your C8. Check it out, the driver's wheel is opposite side. Something else cool is all your dash stuff, like your air conditioner controls, all that stuff. Looks like it's all right down the middle. It's beautiful. Steering wheel is something else. Looks like the steering wheel is wrapped in leather. Yeah, it looks like somebody stuck their hand on there. Engines in the back. It's quite a change with Corvette because all these past years they've been doing front engine cars. With the Stingrays and the past generations, for quite a while they did front engine cars. The Corvette decided they want to go back to the rear engine, which I think that looks a lot more cooler anyways. Looks like you got a backup camera on there. Kind of make it easier because I'm sure you cannot hardly see all that back glass on that. Now we're getting into a spot that's probably the most popular spot in this museum. On February 12, 2014 at about 5:39 a.m. a sinkhole opened up and swallowed up several Corvettes. And luckily they were able to dig them all out and everything, but it wasn't without consequences, sadly. And we're going to show you those Corvettes, and I'm going to show you some pictures of them pulling them out and stuff. Here's a video of the sinkhole opening up. You can already see how it's already collapsed. Here's the aftermath. All the cars that got swallowed up. Here's some more shots. what's crazy is they pulled out, I think it was this car, or one of them, they pulled it out, and they wanted to see if it still ran, and it actually fired right up. They couldn't believe it. That's kind of funny. We're going to see in about a couple of seconds here with a simulation of a sinkhole, which is what swallowed up these Corvettes. Where I live, we got sinkholes all over the place. So, this is nothing new to me. So we got a view from down what would look like at ground zero. Now you're kind of looking down like as you're looking from the top of the sinkhole. Oh yeah, you got that one Corvette just buried right there. So now we're in the Sky Dome, and this is where the collapse happened, where the sinkhole opened up. Now I will say that to their defense, the museum did not realize that there was a sinkhole over here. They had no idea. So don't, hate on them saying, why'd you build it over top of a sinkhole? They had no idea it was there when they built this place. But they do have the Corvettes on display that were damaged, like back here, that's one of them. So, and they got outlined just how big that sinkhole was. And we'll show you all that here in just a second. You got 2005 Corvette. It was the official pace car for the Indy 500. And you got a 1998, another Indy pace car. This is 30 feet down of what's left of the sinkhole. It's crazy. Here's one of the cars that was swallowed up in the sinkhole, the 1,000,000th Corvette that rolled off the assembly line. This was a 1992 Corvette. And they originally, I don't think they wanted to fix this thing up. I think they decided to. It's kind of sad because, it lost its value after being repaired. Because, it's a one-of-a-kind Corvette. All of them were pretty much a one-of-a-kind that fell into that sinkhole. But something even more interesting is that inside here, inside all these panels and stuff like that, when this was originally made, they had every single signature from each area of the factory that this was made at. So when they would put the interior on or something, when they put the door on, the people of that area would sign their names on that, or when they put the trunk in, that stuff. So names are written all over inside this car. When they rebuilt this thing, after it got damaged, I think they had more people re-sign names on there. And the people that were originally, there were like just a few people left that originally built this one in 1992 that still worked at the Corvette factory when they rebuilt it, and they had them re-sign their name on here. It's really awesome. And you could see a picture of what I'm talking about. You see all these different signatures and stuff. The workers who signed this Corvette, and there you can see them pulling it out of the sinkhole. And this sinkhole is massive. I mean, you can see the outline of it going all the way around through here. Just follow that tape all the way around. It's amazing how big that was. In 1968 Astrovette. It was actually part of an aerodynamic study. And the purpose of this study was to see how slippery the Corvette could be made, how sleek and everything. Looks like something out of the 80s, really. Because you know how they try to make everything so futuristic looking. But they wanted to try to make this thing about as aerodynamic as possible. It's a shame how bad they got damaged in that collapse. This is a 2009 Corvette. This is one that was so badly damaged that they decided that it would be pointless to try and fix it because you'd be replacing so much on it. And they decided just to leave it like it is, which I really don't blame them. Here's another one of the 8 Corvettes that fell into the hole. This was actually the 3rd car extracted from that hole. This is a 1962 Corvette. And this one didn't suffer that much damage. I think there was some minor damage. It was all intact. The frame wasn't bent. The interior, as in being just a little bit dirty, was okay. But just some minor damage, and they was able to fix this one right back up and pretty much kept it all its same look. Which they were really worried about this one. They spent pretty much most of their time trying to dig this one out. This 2009 ZR1 Corvette is a 200 mile an hour supercar with 638 horsepower, and at the time was the most powerful automobile ever sold by GM at the time. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks for joining me on this. I hope you enjoyed this video. What's your favorite year of Corvette? I think Dorothy's favorite year is 2009. And my favorites are all from like about the 70s, those Stingrays. Those are about my favorite years. But I do like the latest generation of the Corvettes. But I want to thank you for joining me. And I will catch you guys next time. See ya.